All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live and direct. Today it is a very special day. A very special uh, person is with us, all the way from Dangriga, Belize. And as we speak, I am trying to get the signal going here so that I'm able to share the live with our audience. Okay, I see it already. So we're here. Look, you can see that we're live. Hopefully, we don't get any feedback. Okay, so we're live, ladies and gentlemen. And before we start, let me just share these beautiful. Okay, so we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Let me lower the volume. We don't want any feedback. Okay. Welcome again to Wayanuha. Let's talk, Conversemos, which is basically the name of our show. It's a brand new show. You're the first one to actually be our first guest, Mr. Nuru, and we are definitely thrilled to have you. Uh, I have made a comeback after so many years of having DJ. What is the name of the other show that I used to have? Garifuna Music and Talk with DJ Labuga. Now it is totally a new version. It's something that I'm really proud of because I feel like I need to reconnect with the community. I need to reconnect with artists in the diaspora, and that it is important because we need to retell the story. We have our young kids coming up behind Nuru and behind Aurelio Martinez and behind Paula Castillo and behind Mando Ballesteros and all of them. And they need to know, they need to have a little foundation of who came before them so that they actually are able to do a better job. And not to say that you guys are not, you guys are definitely doing a terrific job. So let me introduce Mr. Dayaan Ellis, also known as Nuru. He is a Garifuna Punta rocker and parandero from the legend, from the town of Dangriga, the heart of the culture capital of Belize in Central America. But I think we lost him. We'll reconnect again. In the meantime, let me continue reading a little bio. So his charismatic, nonchalant, and professional demeanor has earned him respect from the music industry, not only in Central America, but also around the world. Nuru has taken his career as an institution where he has combined what he's learned throughout the years in the music industry, right? In many aspects of music and its pundits to incorporate in all musical works. His albums to date are The History of Our Roots, Reality, Realidad, The Experiment, Punta Cartel, Mete Isaka, Believe, and then the latest album a few years back is Reflections. And he has also produced the albums from Ideal called Lida Dan, Lufuluri Papa, and Garifuna. Those are the names of Georgette Lambi's albums. And of course, he worked with Loverboy. Nuru began his career with an all-guitar band called Belizean Adventures. He then moved to play with Sound City Band and made history when he joined the Punta Rock magnet band of the 90s, Garifuna Kids, then Garifuna Legacy, when Garifuna Kids dissolved. He has played with bands such as the New Generation Band, Ibayani in Los Angeles, Punta Cartel. Punta Cartel, let's go back, and Griga Boys. In addition, Nuru has collaborated with Garifuna artists such as Andy Palacio, James Lovell, Maimi Martinez, Mojaba Flores, Titima Flores, Ivy Queen or Ivy Queen. She's a reggaetonera from Puerto Rico. Adriatic, Bella Carib, rest in peace. Chico Ramos, Adrian Doc Martinez, and Paula Castillo. Nuru is known for his electrifying on-stage performance in the U.S. and around the world. Nuru has staged performances in Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, Carifesta in Trinidad and Tobago, Afro-Caribbean Festival in Veracruz, Mexico, and Belizean Summer Park Festival in New York. His musical talent landed him on the same stage with international musical characters such as El Rookie, Junior Ranks, and Aurelio Martinez. Recognized as a hard worker, Nuru pursues a solo career where he intends to promote and maintain the wealth and the richness of the Garifuna culture through his music, lyrics, and electrifying performance that has won the hearts of thousands around the globe. So let's welcome, with a round of applause and with a little hugu hugu, Mr. Dayaan Ellis Nuru. Yes, kemot ya. Beautiful. Ellis, Dayaan Ellis. Man, a lot of memories are coming through right now, a lot of emotions. And one of them is knowing that you have always been there for our organization, Gahfu. And we have worked with you year after year, even with the advent of COVID. We were able to compensate you and your crew, your band, for doing those virtual concerts, right?
Right.
So we're going to get into that a little bit more, but introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Can I ask a question before I even start introducing myself? How do I get the audience here in Belize to be able to um, be a part of the live?
Okay, so people need to go to, we're resharing the signal right now with Gahfu Garifuna on Facebook, also on Ronnie Figueroa page on Facebook, and also on our Gahfu channel on YouTube, Gahfu Garifuna. That's how they're able to see it. But it's going to be recorded, so don't worry about it. If they miss it today, a little bit later on, it's going to come on again, and people could just go and click and listen to the entire interview.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Just to
My
speak a
name is.
little louder because you're a little bit far.
Okay, I'll see if I can come a little bit closer. Uh, can you
Much
hear me
better.
now?
Much better. Much better.
All right. I guess my volume was a little bit low. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Dayaan Ellis. My stage name is Nuru, which means the same thing as my first name. My European name means the dawn of a new day, and my what I would call a traditional Garifuna name is Nuru, which means northeast trade wind, which also means fresh. Every day is something fresh. Every day is something new.
Speak
So
up louder.
okay, I have. Let me see if I can bring this closer. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better. Much better.
All right. I've been in the business for almost 20, over 30 years. I've been singing since I was like 15, 16. Um, I'm almost 50 now.
Wow.
Don't look it, but I'm very close to that age. And I think it's appropriate at this point for me to think about sharing my story, sharing my experience. Uh, I'm thankful for this opportunity, first of all, and I'd like to say, I'm happy at this point to be able to now share my expertise and my experiences and be able to create proteges.
I'm listening.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay,
I'm now
so
currently living in Belize, Central America. Been here for like almost 15 years now. Time fly. I
wow.
left LA since I like 2006, 2007. I moved out and then was back and forth until 2011 when I decided to permanently stay here. Um, the economic part of my life has not always been the greatest. because with music, it's goes and comes. You know what I mean? So I had to find uh, a place that I would consider to be home and comfortable to be able to live. And I'm now living in Belize. Been a teacher for basically all my life. I'm now teaching at a high school as well, and I work at a resort. So that's my source of income other than my musical career. And that's a
Beautiful.
snippet
So,
of who I am.
oh, great, great. No, no, no. What have you been up to? What projects are you working on right now?
um, I have a whole entire album coming. I have changed my genre. I am doing a lot of English songs. I think I have a huge catalog of Garifuna songs. So I'm attempting to now cross over and have everybody else outside of my culture be able to get a whiff of what my abilities are, and have them understand the importance of who I am as a Garifuna. So I'm about to try to tell my story in a different language, and hopefully it comes across to everyone, and it's supposed to be great. Other than that, I have some other stuff. I have some good stuff coming up. I have my group called Garifuna Heartbeat. We are actively playing here in Belize. Um, because of my teaching career, I have not been able to actually take Heartbeat on the road like I would want to, but it's gonna happen, and I'm supposed to be in Europe sometimes in November as well. So good stuff coming up.
Okay, so if I were to go to Dangriga right now and I arrive there and I want to have a good time, I want to be able to listen to your band. Where do I go? What days do you play? Give us a little bit more information because I've seen a lot of YouTubers go to Dangriga and they end up videotaping shows, mostly drumming, but I never see them do you. Or maybe you don't allow them to videotape.
Uh, it's not that I don't allow them. I usually work Thursday nights, so I would have the band play outside at K's Cool Spot on Thursdays, and during COVID, I was doing it at home, but now we could do it outside. Because I work on Sundays, everybody go to the beach on Sundays, and I wouldn't be at the beach on Sundays. I would be at work, so most of the guys who do come in wouldn't actually interact with me for the mere fact that I am at work. And weekdays, people don't really. Only if you know what's going on in town, you would know exactly where to find me. Other than that, I'm at work in Hopkins. I work at resorts. I do solo performances. I do a lot of solo performances, just me and my guitar, and it's
What
pretty
kind of
fun. So,
audiences do you play for when you go to Hopkins?
well, it's tourists. It's most of the people that we play for are tourists, and I would say lunch entertainment. When people are eating, play soft guitar music, that kind of stuff. Real mellow. I get an opportunity to experiment with different types of genres, and of course new songs as well. I could try, put new things together at the same. It's like, it's all about spreading the culture, having people understand what we can do with their music and fusing it with Garifuna music. So that's what's been happening.
Educate these tourists. How do you take the time to talk to them and tell them a little bit about the Garifuna and then play
Right.
the song, or you just play on?
Right. That's what makes it work, because for each song I would stop, I would introduce the song, and in between, if I have to explain to them exactly what the content of the song is, I would do that, and then let the whole evening flow. It's pretty interactive. I mean, a lot of people who come, they do have a good time, and of course, we make sure we keep it classy. So that's one of the most important things.
Do you play any cover songs for them? Anything that they're more familiar with? Maybe yes, no, sometimes.
Yes, I try my best to have, because you cannot just stick to just straight Garifuna songs. They will not understand you. You would have to give them some of their very own. I have a selection of songs that I that I work on during the course of the week. so I could stay fresh. They everybody in the world like Bob Marley, so I do a lot of reggae songs in between just for people
I was thinking about that.
to. I do a lot of reggae songs, and what I do, I fuse it along with my own original songs. So it's been working out really nice. I've been there for like 7 years, going on 8 years this year. So it's something that's really working really good so far.
Beautiful. I want to compliment you on passing your musical talent to your children as well as those children who you guide as a professional teacher in school. Um, how do you how do you feel about how your children are learning? Your own children, not the school
Well,
children. Are they at the level where you want them to be?
well, um, my main focus with them is not really music. I want them to be able to focus on school. Music is like this just the side thing for us. Like that downtime, we would all pick up the guitar, or we all pick up the drums, and we'll create something, or just to have them them keep myself, and as well as them in a loop of learning. Because it's always important that you teach them as you go along. It's important to create proteges, and at this point in my life, I think that um, I will I will now more dedicate more of my time to them and teaching them, because life is real out here. You gotta make sure you arm your children. My dad always told me, said, don't be one-sided. What I mean, make sure that you learn as much as you can learn while you're in the business. Education is just a tool to open the door, and you having a skill is more important than anything else, because no one can take away your skill from you, because you're going to be different. And I've been living by that, and I believe that it is important for our children to be able to have the same teachings as our parents. Most of our parents just want the best for us, so I think we should do the same thing for our children. Just have them, give them that armor that they need in order for them to be able to survive in life. I mean, the population is not that small. We have millions of people on earth, so, and Garifuna is special. I mean, our music is extremely special. So at this point, I think I need to really enhance them, their ability to be able to carry on the culture as much. And I think it's going to be easier for them anyway, because I have basically gone through all the knots and hard times and all that stuff. It's like paving your way for your children. So I'm there right now. You know,
How many children do you have?
right now I got two that are in school, and I have one that was like, he's like what, 2 months old.
Congratulations on being a new daddy, 2 month old baby.
Yeah,
Wow, wow, wow.
yeah.
You're
He got he
lucky.
got he got the name Nuru now, so Nuru is here.
Whoa. So with that, which one of your kids, not counting this the young one that was just born, which
Okay.
one of your kids is carrying that musical trait, that tradition that you have, that you
Well, this
inherit?
the last two. I mean, the last two are, I've been here with them. I mean, the other three that I have, I was living in the States while they were here in Belize, so I couldn't really, immerse myself when it comes to having them learn musically what I know. But with these last two that I have here, man, really impressive. The last two, the second to the youngest one, he's an excellent singer, and he plays drums as well. And they both excellent when it comes to dancing. I can't dance like my kids. They're good.
That is good. And then so with the lyrics, who you write the songs for them, or they just tend to go with the most popular songs that are out there, the
Well,
ones from the.
like for the new stuff, we work on together. Like we would,
Mhm.
we just be in the house, and we would find something that is catchy, and we would work on it. And other than that, I have the older one. I want him to be able to play like how I play. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to mold him to have that same ability, and with a little bit more innovation, of course, because you want the kids to be able to do more than you can. So you would find him a lot with his guitar a lot of times, and in his room, in his room trying to practice different songs, not only my songs. He would, try different riffs and stuff like that. So one of these days, when I do decide to go on tour, I'll bring him along so you all could see exactly what his abilities are. I mean, he's almost two times my height, so
So being an American, because you are an American, you have a
right,
U.S. passport.
right.
Don't that make them American citizens?
Yeah, they are, they are. It's just it's I just have been logging. I mean, I believe that I don't want to overexpose my kids too quick. I think that it's very important for them to focus on school, and if you start selling them that illusion of going into a different environment and having them lose interest, it's not something I'm too. You know, America is filled with distraction, and for me, I need my kids to be focused. For I lived
You
there
got to
for
get
almost 15 years, so I know what's going on.
think real hard about this next question. I want you to think
Okay,
about it before you give me an answer. What
okay.
are some of the proudest moments as a musician that you have had?
Some of the proudest moments for me, I think that my ability to be able to represent my country when I left Belize and I was playing with GK. When I started playing with Garifuna kids, that was one of those moments that going there and coming back home and be able to entertain the same people you usually would see on a regular day on a higher level. That was one of those epic moments. Um, my second one was being able to accomplish one of my biggest goals, which was recording an album. What I mean? My first album, Afin, which, what I mean, History of Our Roots, that meant a lot to me. And that that was like in commemoration for my daughters. My second daughter, Akila, she was born in September, and the album was done. It was ready to go, and I wanted to release it on her birthday, but I just couldn't do it. I had to wait until November.
Right, right, right.
So that was one of the second one, and to me the third one was coming to Belize and making a change in what people are used to. We were so embedded in the technological kind of instruments. We were using a drum machine in this country for a long time, and I decided to come home and I wanted to change that. I wanted to go back to grassroots and have people understand the importance and what we can do with our drums if we just organize it properly and I mean present it the correct kind of way. It was I think it was way over time that we changed the whole dynamics of us being able to play with our drums and have people respect it. Um, and whenever people used to play with drums, they would always be crowded. You don't see the drummers or anything like that because everybody's like hovering over them. And the only reason why is because the only reason why is because the drums were not amplified properly. And I said, you know what, Nuru? I said, man, you have this knowledge. I mean, why don't you just use it? I mean, set another trend. And I came home to Belize and I put together Galif in a Heartbeat. And Heartbeat was a bunch of young kids who they themselves didn't understand what I was trying to embed in their brains until afterwards when they start understanding the dynamics of sound. Um, in order for them to actually reach over to people, organize the music, have the drums play, we could add whatever other instrument to it and make it dynamic. So I feel good because now all over the world, the drums are being amplified. What I mean? People don't really care about playing with the drum machine no more. And in Honduras, I could see it. We were going live for a couple of years. People were not paying attention to us until when COVID came around and they realized that, oh, okay, these guys been around. You know what I mean? So that's when that's one of my other moments. And my last one was me being able to actually have children in my country now sing properly. Having them sing on key, having them enunciate the right words to songs. I mean, having them understand that it's important for us to keep our culture alive. And don't try to you know cut corners. Take your time, learn what you need to learn. Sing properly, enunciate all your words. Because to me, without proper enunciation, we're gonna definitely lose our language. A lot of people learn Garifuna through our singing, the way how we sing the songs. If we sing it clearly, people are going to understand what we're saying. So it's important for us to say the words properly, enunciate them properly. That those are my four most important um, accomplishments in my life.
No, thank you. You gave me a great answer, man. I'm glad you really thought about it, and I am proud of you. And I really paid attention to the point that you made about getting rid of the drum machine and playing the way you've been playing for a while,
Right.
with Garifuna drum beat. What is it called? Garifuna drum beat?
Got it from the heartbeat.
Heartbeat. Okay. So
Yeah.
we have a viewer in Guatemala. Nuru is a great artist. Greetings from La Buga, Livingston, Guatemala. So, yeah, man. Un saludo para la gente en
Saludos,
español,
saludos, saludos.
Nuru. O
Like
ya
to
se te
say,
olvidó el español.
I like to say hi to all my fans all over, man. Honduras, Guatemala. I miss my Nicaraguan people. When I used to be at Honduras Kitchen back in the days, we used to get uh, people from Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, all over the place. We used to have a good time, and it's sad that that didn't continue because at the end of the day, I think we had the ability to really take over the world and do a lot. But for me, I'm a human. You know what I mean? I'm a human, and because I'm a human, at some point, we have only X amount of tolerance for anything. What I mean? We have to be able to have people respect us as much as we respect them. And I didn't feel that we were getting the respect, not from the people, but from the owner itself. What I mean? The owner didn't really respect what we were doing. I mean, we were not being honored and respected for what our abilities were. And I had to move on and get out of there because I felt the tension. It was not about the music anymore. It was about the gain. And I do music because I love it. I don't do music because I think I'm gonna get rich. But at the same time, I have to be compensated properly for my abilities and what we do. So at that point, when the Punta Cartel album came out, and I had a meeting with them. I told the guys, I was very frank, I was very professional. I told the guys, I said, listen to me. I said, we have an album out that I know have great potential. We have to sit down as a band with the owner and negotiate, do the business right. You know what I mean? And I tried to call a couple of meetings with him, and he he outright said he was not going to do that. You know what I mean? So I told him, well, I will just come and I'll return your uniforms because at the end of the day, I am not a toy. I'm a grown ass man, and I don't think that I'm going to allow anyone to disrespect me when it comes to what I could do. And that was the end of Punta Cartel for me. So I am here now. I'm here in Belize, and I've been here for like almost 15 years. I moved home. I did Believe. I did the experiment. I did a couple of albums, and I went back teaching because I didn't feel that it was going to be fair for me to just sit back and get ran over by a freight train.
Gotcha. Nuru, you are one of the few musicians in the diaspora who has registered your music in order to collect royalties. Can you
Right.
talk a little? I mean, that would be another whole show, right? But just, yeah, if you could just give us a little hint of what this
All
means.
right. The moment I became a U.S. citizen, I I made sure I started covering my bases. Um, I knew it was important for me to copyright all my songs. Everything I did, I registered. I'm a part of BMI. I'm a registered BMI songwriter as well as an
Can
artist.
you tell the audience what BMI is?
BMI is an association that you register all your songs. You know what I mean? You get an IPI for all your songs. And that is something that is gonna, it's gonna follow your song wherever it's played. And once it's embedded, that's it. You know what I mean? That's how you go about collecting. I'm also a publisher. So I have my own publishing company. It's called Gomads Publishing. I registered it with BMI as well. So I basically own all my publishing as well as my mechanicals, so all that is mine. And you have to be able to have a publishing company in order for you to collect any money from anywhere. I mean, I live in Belize now, so I have my administration guy who helped me here because I'm at work, you know, and it is pretty incredible. He goes by the name of Dalman White, what I mean, and he has helped a lot of us. I mean, I when I came home, I really asked him to sit down and really consider, what I mean, taking up the challenge, and he was like, "Nuru, are you sure this is going to work out?" I was like, "Yeah, man. I mean, you have good reading skills as well as I do. You can speak as well as I do. So I think it's just fair that you pick up a little bit of slack and make it happen." He's a musician as well, so he had Belize at heart. What I mean? So at this point, he's like, "Okay, fine. We did all the stuff. He did all his we did all the groundwork. We whatever we needed to do, we created. He registered with Root Note on his stuff on his part, so he could have his own publishing company as well. And that's basically in a nutshell what happened. We have to copyright your songs. Number one, you got to get a copyright, and when you finish copywriting, well, before copyright, you go and you register them with BMI. And when you finish with BMI, you make sure you copyright it. And when you finish with copywriting, then you have to make sure you publish. And once you do that, you have all that three all connected. You're ready to go. He hooked up. He
Now,
hooked up Paula Castillo as well. What I mean? So she's a part of the movement. It's called I can't remember what his publishing company is, but we got it locked. We got it locked.
now let me ask you this, and be honest with me, because I want people who are in the business to understand and to balance it out and see whether it's worth it or not. Is it worth
Okay.
the fee that you pay to register those songs with BMI or with whichever company
Hmm.
compared to the amount of royalties that you're getting? I know if we talk about immediate royalties, you may not be able to see a big fat check, but down the
Right.
line, through a time, you are going to see your money back. Can you be honest about that?
Well, it is very, very, very worth it. I mean,
I think we lost
I'm here.
in Guatemala or any other place, but I will continue to talk while we get Nuru back online. This with Gahfu, and we want to make sure that we revisit a lot of. We want to be able to showcase their work and give them a window of opportunity for them to tell their story. So yeah, so go ahead, man. And so is it worth the investment?
Definitely worth the investment. Why? If you don't do it, at some point you start getting ran over by a freight train. I mean, I was able to. I'll talk about it. I mean, I don't mind saying anything. I was able to see how much money Mete Saka was making through CD Baby. I was able to stop their collection and have everything taken down off the internet. I was able to. Um, SKM was one of those people that people don't know, but I had his stuff taken down because he was pirating big time. What I mean? I don't have no respect for people who abuse other people's talent. So I will call you out. I don't care. I've gotten to the point in my life whereas I stop hiding people. I used to hide people for a long time, but um, days have come to it has come to it that we gotta put some serious brakes on some people. And When I found out what was going on, I immediately sent all my copyright information to CD Baby, and they asked for them to actually contest, and they couldn't. They couldn't contest it because at the end of the day, they knew
Now
it wasn't there.
we're talking about Punta Cartel, owned by Music Larios Productions, right?
Right,
From Honduras
right,
Kitchen. Okay,
right,
just want to make clear.
right, right. You know, so with between him and SKM, they had their own thing going, and whatever happens in the dark do come to light. You know what I mean? And that's why I encourage people now, get your stuff copywritten. You know what I mean? Get your stuff published. You know, make sure that whatever you do it the right way so people don't take advantage of you. You know, and I'm encouraging all the artists worldwide. You know what I mean? Stop just releasing songs. Stop doing it. You know what I mean? Try your best to copyright your stuff. You know what I mean? And make sure that you even if you don't have your own publishing company, find somebody who has their own publishing company, and you get your stuff published in order for you to actually be respected. You know, I used to be with
Nuru,
Garifuna Kids, and yes.
I'm sorry to cut you off real quick, but I want to make sure that the artists understand, the ones who are listening right now, what is the price range that you pay for an 10 song album or for each individual song to be registered? Uh, Belize dollars or American dollars? Give us an idea.
It's pretty it's like for Belize, in Belize it's like, I'd have to check my receipts, but I think it's like $50. $50 US for you to
Okay,
copyright an album, you
to
know?
copyright
And
one
I don't
song
think
or one album?
one album. I don't do songs, I do albums because it's cheaper. When you do one
Okay,
individual song, it's gonna cost you. You know,
okay.
so if you do like the whole entire album, you save a little bit of money. You know what I mean? But if you want to do individual songs, you're still gonna pay that 150. You're gonna still pay that $50 for that one song. But
Wow.
to me, $50 is nothing. You know what I mean? $50 to cover your behind. What I mean, I don't think that that's anything. You know what I mean? I think artists and musicians have to be able to just put that money aside and do what they have to do. You know, in order for us to cover each other. You know, and the only thing that really bothers me is the fact that in Belize we don't have the laws that prohibits people from touching your stuff. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I don't like about it, because here people will take your arrangements and they will play your arrangements, they will sing your songs, they will do all this crazy stuff that they know for a fact they never actually put one thought into. You know what I mean? I
So that's
understand the fact that,
mechanical. That's
yes,
mechanical
mechanical also.
copyrights.
Yeah. You know, and we don't have no I don't see any foot soldiers in Belize doing that part. You know what I mean? They're not people here who are foot soldiers who will actually stop you from playing things that you have no rights to be playing. You know what I mean? So far that's not a bad thing. But otherwise than that, cover yourselves, artists, cover yourselves. Do what you gotta do. You know what I mean? Join an association, upload all your songs, make sure that you have all the paperwork done for your own material, copyright them, you know what I mean, and find a publishing company. And once you do that, publish them. And then from there you're ready to go.
And
It
then
for me,
the
get a
only
publishing company
thing
was
is, it's easy to do it because it's all online. And if you're not a good
right,
reader or writing in English, find somebody to help you and walk you through. It's easy, really. It's easy.
right,
And Nuru,
right,
appreciate that, man. That is great information. I think it's a gold mine. You may be getting a few people knocking on your door to help them register their music, and I know you probably charge a fee to help people to do that, and which is honorable, right? Anybody could do that. Who
right.
is your go-to person when you're inspired writing Garifuna music and you just need to confirm that the lyrics are right, the lyrics in Garifuna? Who is your go-to person?
Then my go-to person is the elderly. There's no one specific person. I would because of my knowledge of how we speak Garifuna in three different countries. That's one of the hardest things to do, because in Honduras it might be said this way, in Belize it's going to be said that way, in Guatemala it might be said a different way, And what I usually do, I would see if I could find a common ground. You know what I mean? I find a common ground that if two countries say it a certain kind of way, I would go with that too. If one, then no, I wouldn't use that. And that's the reason why I think that it's important to write your own songs. You know, when you write your own songs, it's far easier. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because then it's your own original composition. You know what I mean?
Also, I have to make an observation that when you sing music and when you publish your music, I don't hear a lot of the everyday Garifuna words that are forbidden, right? Like
Right.
Ederogu and all those that fancy language that is used in songs to hype the crowd and everything. You don't use a lot of that. Your songs are clean and they have meaning and everything. Not to say that is not a good idea. I think if you find a song where you really have to use certain words that are dirty words, right? Hey, use them, But
I
I know
I
a lot of
believe.
people like it, but a
Let
lot of
me give
people
you.
don't.
Let me give you my thoughts on that. I believe that my children are going to grow older.
Yes.
My children are going to grow older, and I think that at some point they're going to ask why. So you got to be careful what you put out because maybe not, it might not be your immediate child, but it might be your grandchild.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So that's the reason why I try my best to keep my songs as clean as possible, and I choose my content really wisely. You know what I mean? My content has to be something that is gonna touch us. You know, it's something that happens every day. I look at everyday things and I try and see how I could put it together whereas it could tell a story all the time. I don't really care about the nasty stuff. The nasty stuff. I respect it because there's an audience for everything. You know what I mean? There's an audience for religious music, there's an audience for conscious music, there's an audience or whatever you want. There's an audience for it. But for me, I just feel that I don't want to get old to the point where as I have to be obnoxious when it comes to me answering my grandchildren, or I don't want to lie to them. You know what I mean? I want to tell
Right.
them the truth. You know, I don't think you should. You should. I mean, every song has its story.
So none of that Degeba, Ingibe.
Ah man, I respect it though. You know what I mean? I respect it. I respect it, and
Right.
that's the reason why I keep my stuff cultural. I keep it cultural because most cultural songs you're not gonna hear that kind of stuff in there. You know what I mean? I mean they do have some, but those are the ones I weed out.
Yeah. Or certain songs like Hingiti Bola and things like that. I mean, those are traditional
Oh, yeah.
songs that older people created, right? And when you listen to them today, you can't help but just laugh because they have a nasty meaning, right? But they're telling a story, right?
uh, I mean, I wouldn't put myself in that kind of position. No. I mean, I don't.
But you have sung those songs though.
I haven't touched
No?
those.
Okay,
No,
okay,
I haven't
okay.
touched.
Okay,
Like
let's
I said,
let's
I
move off
choose.
the subject. I don't want to get nasty.
Okay.
Is there any particular place where you feel more artistic or more inspired to write?
Yeah, there is. There's two places. When I go to Punta Gorda, there's just something about Punta Gorda here in Belize that really, something about that place opens my mind. I think there's a
Wow.
connection somewhere or some, I don't know. And then of course the beach. I
Yeah.
mean, the reason why I moved to Belize is because I don't see myself driving to Redondo all the time.
Redondo Beach,
You know,
California. That is right here in Los Angeles,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
you know what I mean? So I don't know. I prefer being home, you know what I mean? Like this is where I live, you know what I mean? Where I live. That's my house right there. You know what I mean? That's my backyard. You know what I mean? This is how I live. I like to live simple. Not
Right.
too much.
All
Not too
right.
much.
So we're almost there. Next question. What places have you traveled to perform? and where will you be traveling this year, if at all? I know you had mentioned Germany earlier, but give us a little bit more in depth on some of the places that you have traveled to outside of Belize, besides the United States, Caribbean islands, and then the upcoming travels.
All right. I've been to Suriname. There's just I've been to Suriname, performed in Trinidad, Mexico. I've done a lot of stuff in Mexico, Guatemala, of course. And this year I'm gonna go to Europe. I have something coming up for Europe this year. It's gonna be for a couple of weeks, and then of course, you know, hopefully next year I will be able to hit Canada. I really want to go to Brazil. I mean Brazil, Colombia, that area. I think that, excuse me, our music has good potential to be able to go in that area. Trinidad, I did Trinidad as well. I did Trinidad and Tobago. Um, man, there's just too much places. I can't remember all of them.
I want you to think about Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. That's a beautiful place.
No,
It's
that's a
there's
place
a
I want to
strong
go.
Garifuna connection there, being the motherland, right? It's a beautiful cluster of islands. I've been there in 2019 with Cheryl, my wife, and of course, a number of artists, including Aurelio Martinez, Bodoma, uh, uh, who else? Erica Zuniga went there. Glenn Garcia was our drummer. And then we had also Carlos Domingo Alvarez as our Guanarawa dancer and drummer, and Flavio Alvarez from Los Angeles, La Buga Livingston, who also went as a Guanarawa dancer. So we went to 6 Garifuna communities in St. Vincent, and we were able to perform workshops in every
Right,
community there,
nice.
even though they don't speak the language. All you see is faces that look familiar, that look like Dayaan Ellis, they look like the people that are Garifuna, but then they don't speak the language anymore. All they speak is Creole. And so
Oh,
it is a wonderful place. You need to go. You need to go there, man.
well, there's two places I want to go in my lifetime before the Heavenly Father decide to take me away from this earth. One of them is Saint Vincent, and the other one is Mali. I want to go to Mali. There's just something about those two places that I think I need to, get my footprint in the sand in those places. Uh, Hopefully it happens very soon, but those are the two places I dream about going.
Beautiful. Also, we want to send a shout out to our Locono Empire. Those are the Ameri Indians, and these are the people who you have mentioned earlier in Suriname. Suriname,
Right,
and of course, the Guyanas is the area where the birth of the Garifuna. Actually, that's where the Arawak and the Carib Indians travel, and they
right,
spread out in the Lesser Antilles and the Greater Antilles, and then they mix with the Africans, and we
right.
have what we have today called Garifuna because of that. Uh,
I actually I went to Suriname. I went to Suriname like I think like 5 or 6 years ago.
okay,
Yeah,
I
we
remember.
had a. You remember, right?
I saw your pictures when you traveled there, and I saw when you arrived in the airport.
Right.
Yeah,
Ellis from
Nuru.
Jamaica. No, I'm from Belize.
Yeah, he's Garifuna from Belize to the
Yeah,
Locono Empire there. Um,
yeah.
um, Next would be, where do you hope to see Garifuna music in the near future, and what are some of the obstacles that someone like you have had to overcome, and what are some of the practical solutions to that, especially in Belize?
Um, because of what we have and who we are as a people, I'm hoping and praying that Garifuna music get commercialized in the sense that we can actually um, we could do just like Afrobeat is doing right now. Put the music on a big stage. You know what I mean, and have people really hear our story. You know what I mean. The downfall is the language. A lot of the young guys nowadays they're not really spending the time to be able to learn. how to speak Garifuna properly. Um, with that said, the percussion aspect of it is there, the foundation is there, but then it just becomes a hustle. You know what I mean? I don't want the music to become a hustle. It's not supposed to be a hustle. It's supposed to be something that we could teach and have other people embrace and acknowledge and respect. You know, so that's a downfall. Hopefully, we get to be able to spread our message and have everybody worldwide know who we are. We are Garifuna people. We have never been enslaved. You know what I mean? We're strong. We're survivors. You know what I mean? And our ancestry and our culture is still strong and vibrant, and that's the most important thing.
Beautiful. Thank you, man. We're almost coming to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wayanuha Let's Talk Conversemos show. And this is our first inaugural show. And I appreciate you, Nuru, for being the person to Chris on our show. And definitely, this is your home. You're welcome to come back anytime. What advice would you give to an upcoming artist or what advice would you give your children who may want to get into this business?
I will give them the same advice my dad gave me. If you're gonna get into it, submerge yourself. Go in holistically. Learn everything. Don't learn just a little bit. Learn as much as you can, and put yourself on a level and put yourself in the right places where people can respect you. So if you're gonna submerge yourself into music, learn how to play, learn a little bit about engineering, learn the words, the dynamics, make sure everything you do is high end. I think that one of the things that people don't like about me is the fact that I'm not only an artist, but I can intimidate an engineer as well, because I am an engineer as well. I could
Yes.
write. I could arrange, I could record, I could mix. I could do whatever I have to do. I could play a bass guitar, a piano, I could play a drum. I might not be the greatest in any of them, but I could create a chemistry within my capacity in order for me to be able to have people enjoy music. And if you listen to all my albums, yes, that's me on the guitar, that's me on the keyboard, that's me on the bass, that's me on vocals, that's me doing all the arrangements. And I'm the only person I would actually call in was a Gary from the drummer, because there's just something special about having a pro Gary from the drummer play for you. But other than that, I mean, what am I gonna say? I mean, just submerge yourself. Don't just be one sided. Just don't be a guitar player. Just don't be a singer. Just don't be a bass player. Just don't be a conguero. Just don't be a tamborista. No. Try your best to learn everything. You might not be the greatest, but learn everything. Have a little bit of knowledge of everything. That will take you places. And of course, the number one thing, be humble and respectful.
Beautiful. Good advice, man. I appreciate that. Do you have any regrets?
Uh I don't want to say yes. I don't think I regret anything. I mean, we all go through this, and it's a journey. You have to accept your journey. Your journey is what makes your story. So for me to regret anything, I don't think I want to be regretful of anything. I just want to be thankful for everything that I've been through. Because with that comes lessons. And I have been able to learn lessons, and I will be able to share my experience with my children and my great grandchildren and my grandchildren. And I think that's just a lot of blessings to me. For those people who have done me wrong in my lifetime when it comes to music, I don't hate you. I respect you. I don't hate you at all. It's just that I can't work with you no more. You know what I mean? But I respect you.
Wow. That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't hate you. I have nothing but love for you, but you can't get me to work for you anymore. That's it.
Nuru, let's put a
Yeah.
nice note to this interview here. Only about 6 minutes left. That song from the first album, History About Roots, that's where that song Buna Bo came out of, right?
Hmm? Yep.
Bunabo. Can you
Uh-huh.
give us a little intro with your guitar?
And Bunabo.
Yeah.
Ibunabo wabaya na mulenyere yeriyo negatibuya. Abunabo wabaya kaluga bana duwe namse. Of course, we go into the jams afterwards. Yeah, you get the plate the dido, higher dido, higher dido. Got the bowl the dido, higher dido, higher dido. All right, people want to know what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's like, it's like,
Break it down, brother.
it says Sule Bong. What does Sule Bong means? A lot of people don't know what Sule Bong means. Sule Bong is back in the days when our parents used to wash, they would put our clothes on the grass. Abahasule and Wanago in order for the sun to hit it. So when you say Sule Bong, like place it properly on the grass so it can so the heat can actually beat the material and get it
Wow.
dry. But
Wow.
you understand me? So that's just something I came up with, and you know what I mean. When you're writing music, you just have to, like I say, I look at things that is around me in order for me to create things out of it. Wow, you're Ellis as well? Oh man. Okay. I guess we're
Right, right.
family.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so Bonabo talks about, a son building a home for his mom, you know, and to me, the story behind that is taking his mom out of the hardship of what life is. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, create, take me off the street and bring me into a home of love. You know what I mean? And prosperity. So that to me, that's a very, very dynamic song, and that's a song that I used to hear my grandmother sing, like, whoo, like way back. You know what I mean? I was raised by a grandma. You know what I mean? I wasn't. My mom was gone from early, you know, and I was raised by my grandmother. So my mom used to pop in and pop out, but that's
She
just the
moved to
nature
Los
of it.
Angeles
Right.
at an
You
early
know,
age.
and
Yeah.
when that happened, you're gonna you're gonna get rooted with your grandparents, and up to when the day when my grandmother died, that was like the worst day of my life. But I had to accept it, because that was the person who I used to go to, and then later on, I was dazed for a couple of years because it was tough on me. Because if you're used to something and then you're migrating out of something, and she was like the base of my root and my culture. Everything I learned culturally came from my grandmother. Even when I started writing songs, I would write it in her voice. I mean, I would write a
Wow.
song in a female tone because that's what I knew. And Afian was a song that came from my grandmother in my sleep.
Can you sing that one?
And
I love
Afian,
that song.
yeah. E Afiati na hebe, ina nubungi ungi usielo, ari abati nuago, tuniki bana, ida suna dingu. E Afiati na hebe, ina nubungi ungi usielo, ari abati nuago, tuniki bana, ida suna dingu. Ari hebanu, halibanu. Arihebanu halibanu murugo simisidi Arihebanu halibaniga nuburugo simuliru e afieti na yebe idanu bungi usielo arihebati enuago tunigibana idasunadiru.
Man,
Ay.
beautiful. Beautiful. Can you translate for the non-speakers?
Okay, Afian is talking about. I was going through some tough times when I was living in New York. Um, it was an adjustment process for me, and I had to be able to adjust. There were nights when it was extremely cold, and there were nights where, you know what I mean, I was in between my uncle and GK, and I was a different kid, you know. So I sat down one day and I was like, look at me, look where I mean, I'm leaving home to come here, you know, and look where am I gonna sleep? You know what I mean? I'm sleeping on the floor. I don't even have anything to cover. You know what I mean? Look where am I gonna eat? I'm eating out my hand. You know what I mean? I didn't have a plate, and eating out my hand came from me going to McDonald's. You know what I mean? And I wasn't used to that. I was used to eating from home cooked meals. You know, and I told myself, regardless of what, you know what I mean, it's all a part of the struggle. You just got to believe in God and believe in the process. You know what I mean, and ask Him to guide you in whatever move you make. And that's where Afian came from. You know, and the part that said, "I know what you know, Niga Sambo." That's nobody. Nobody named Niga Sambo. I just created the name. It says me see it in too. La diga magala sunages genius. She didn't want me because I wasn't in style. That was what was going on in New York at the time. You had to be a part of the street culture to me. You had to dress the way how they dress. You know what I mean? And that wasn't me. I don't believe in following people. I do me the way how I do me. I don't believe in um, the, the 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 glitz and the glamour. That wasn't a part of who I am. You know. But
I hear the screams there. Somebody's looking for you.
ah, it's not me. It's not me.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, Nuru, the time is here, brother. Appreciate the time that you have given us to dig into your life, to really listen to that talented musician that I revere, that I love. Honestly, you're one of my heroes, one of the people that love to listen, especially the paranda music. Um,
right.
and of course, music like a Fiatina, that song is beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
I thank you from the bottom of the heart of my heart, man, and I wish you the best. Um, Hopefully, we'll work it out as to where we could bring you to the states pretty soon. I'm not promising anything. We're not. We're still talking, but hopefully, we'll do something pretty soon. And God bless you, man. I'll give you the final word before we go.
Uh, okay. My final word is stay true to the culture. That's what I want. I want everybody to start doing, staying as true to the culture as possible. Let's try our best to enhance each other. Let's not bring each other down. You know what I mean? Um, album, Amuruno, is something that really and truly we need to stop talking and start doing. You know what I mean? It's important that we look up to our elders and respect our elders and try and see in any way possible if we could improve each other's lives instead of making each other's lives a little harder. You know, I mean, we all know we're living in a financial world, and let's value each other. I think that is important. A lot of people don't really value each other, and we're just taking each other for granted. We got to try our best to put some value to what we have. Our music, our culture, our people. You know, what I mean, it's important for us to try our best to have all that locked in one, so we could move together as a nation. You know what I mean? The individualist thing is not really working out for us. So let's move together and see how we can make it work.
Lida Garifuno Udo. Now,
Um, okay. Chula dan lo we have believe haba, you know, lo wonderos. Hebe ila lo wani ngoni. Hebe lo bija tibijo ni ga ole wada be, you know, lo heredero kate, you know, gumugo ala sun gimugo. I mean, you know, mama kate buit, mama kate buit hon ni aba. So Nahalo, Yabelida Aba, Waramuga, Wayurugo, Keaba, one nation, one heart.
thank you, Nuru. Appreciate you, man. Mande sereme numada. We'll see you next
No
time.
problem. All right, take care,
Sereme.
Buga. All right, bye
Ayo.
bye.
Okay.
Yo.